What if I told you that the biggest AI safety movement in the world has a serious communism problem? That the push to pause AI is in fact rooted in the exact same cognitive delusions that brought us economic collapse, breadlines, and state surveillance wherever they were implemented. This isn't just a hot take, it's a pattern. The same blind confidence that a handful of experts can safely manage something that nobody fully understands. If that sounds outlandish, then stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly where the pause AI movement's fears come from.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
How the AI landscape is actually unfolding, and why even brilliant experts often get it so wrong. Ultimately, we'll explore how the AI safety movement fails for all the same reasons that communism did, and why competition, openness, and market forces are in fact the safest route forward. If you don't know me already, my name's Tom Edwards. I've worked with some of the biggest companies in technology, and I've been making these videos about AI for the last 2 years. So first of all, let's explore where these fears began. Professors like Nick Bostrom, who wrote a book called Superintelligence, which you can see just behind me, and Max Tegmark, who wrote a book called Life 3.0, were, as far as many people are concerned, the doom pioneers. There's also an online forum called Less Wrong, led by a man called Eliezer Yudkowsky, which is full of very intelligent but also extremely outlandish takes on how AI may be able to take over the whole world. Many of you following or watching this channel will have explored many of these stories already, but the most famous of which is the paperclip maximizer, which explores an idea that an AI, if given the goal to just maximize paperclips, would turn the entire universe into paperclips, because it's so clever it can take everything apart atom by atom and reconfigure it into paperclips, but it is not clever enough to figure out why anybody would ask for that to be the case in the first place. This is the classic fear about AI, which is that a single monolithic superintelligence would recursively improve itself. It will learn to improve itself, and then this flywheel of self-improvement will get out of control, well beyond the ken of any kind of human engineer, and it will therefore become all-powerful and may decide to destroy all human beings.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
There is a adjacent line of thought here, which then goes on to explain how it will definitely want to kill all human beings, because human beings will inevitably be the only thing that are standing in between this super intelligent AI and the goal that it wants to achieve. Now, all of these kind of views were very seductive back when they were first popularized. I myself read the books and was completely engrossed in this idea that a super intelligent AI could end up taking over the world. However, that is not the way that this technology has in fact developed. What has in fact happened is that we have dozens of competing models. There are now over 250 competing frontier models, and 78% of companies around the world are implementing AI to some degree or another. This fragmented ecosystem gives us a form of safety through diversity, because that one monolithic AI has not been allowed to grow well beyond all of the other ones. Actually, what's happened is there are far more limiting factors than we previously could have predicted. Things like energy, things like compute. There is a reason why Nvidia's stock price is going through the roof. It's because everybody wants their GPUs to train AI on, but those GPUs have become something of a bottleneck. We do not have infinite materials, we do not have infinite energy. Intelligence is not, in fact, the only variable in this equation. The doom fantasy of AI monopoly has in fact run into the messy real world. So what about the experts who convinced us that AI was going to destroy us all? What about Max Tegmark? What about Nick Bostrom? What about Eliezer Yudkowsky? Well, smart people are not always right about everything. What David Robson's book, The Intelligence Trap, has taught us is that actually people who are very accomplished in one domain tend to overestimate their abilities in others. Experts overstep their domain all the time, and because they succeeded so much in the previous one, they believe that they are in fact at the front of the current domain. But just because they believe it to be true does not make it so. These people may be extremely intelligent, that they are falling victim to the very same cognitive biases that brought us perhaps the most disastrous political system that humanity has ever conceived: communism. So what are those biases? Well, the first is the negativity bias. That is the natural instinct all humans have, which has been honed by all of the dangers we've faced throughout our evolution to be more afraid of things than we ought to be. We see negative consequences in everything. That is because a leaf moving in the forest might have been a tiger, or it might not have been. The person who gets away wastes their energy 99 times, but gets away from the tiger once. The person who never runs gets eaten and never passes on their genes. This negativity bias is less useful when understanding technology because we simply do not face the same degree of imminent danger at all times that our predecessors had to put up with. The next is overconfidence bias, and the smartest people fall hardest for this. Now, under communism, the central planners were so overconfident in their own abilities that they thought they could plan entire economies from their one centralized office. That is in fact impossible. Systems are far more complex than any one single group of individuals can possibly comprehend. Now, in the Pause AI movement, they fall for the same trick. Regulators and ethicists believe that they can pause AI, solve alignment in advance, and then wait for AI to catch up. In fact, they are completely unable to predict what direction AI is going to take. The next is the planning fallacy. The idea that we can pause for 6 months and pick it back up again is just fantasy. Under communism, they believed that they could create 5-year plans to map out the entire economy and that everyone would just follow it and everything would be fine. Actually, these 5-year plans turned out to precede some of the greatest catastrophes humanity has ever seen. And finally, the status quo bias. This is the human tendency to prefer things to stay the same. Or to put it another way, it's a fear of the unknown. People want to freeze AI because it scares them, but fear is not a strategy. Staying still can be more dangerous than moving forward carefully. And actually, if history has told us anything, it's that the advance of technology has led to all sorts of breakthroughs that have made our lives better, happier, and even in the AI world, we are seeing more and more examples of chatbots literally saving people's lives. It's important to understand that the study of complex systems has consistently told us that they're intrinsically difficult to model due to the dependencies, competitions, relationships, and other types of interactions between their different parts. Reality is fractal. There are more branches of possibility in any given decision than any person or AI can possibly predict. We just simply don't know what the entire world is going to do with a given technology. So it's impossible to just hit the pause button and then pick it up later. And in fact, we couldn't even pause it if we tried. The technology exists, the genie is out of the bottle. So what is the safest way forward? Well, in my view, it is certainly open source. Closed source AI, owned, protected, and ring-fenced by the government, puts all of the power from this incredible technology into the hands of those same few experts. It means central control, it means opacity, it means surveillance. Open source represents transparency, scrutiny, and faster innovation. It means that any development that any one person has, everybody else can see it. It means that that scary, monolithic, self-improving AI never gets the chance to take off because everybody can see what's going on. Competition drives improvement, and it represents freedom. Totalitarianism always fails. Socialism, communism trend towards totalitarianism as the state eats up more and more of the freedoms of the populace. Central planning kills individual rights and therefore kills innovation because nobody is free to innovate anymore. The risk with giving an AI these same powers is that it does in fact become a monolith. You build a kind of immortal Stalin that never dies, never sleeps, and is watching you at all times, and it's smarter than you, and it has access to all of your information. There'll be no regime change, there'll be no collapse, there'll be no rebellion. The government will own everything, and the government will own you. Contrast that to a healthy, open, competitive AI landscape, very similar to the one that we have now. Actually, what you have is lots of different companies building different types of AIs that are well suited to different tasks, and they are all competing with one another for your attention and for your money. So they are going to be aligned with the things that you want. They're going to compete to be as useful as possible for as little money as possible. A dangerous AI that does bad things is going to lose in the marketplace. And so it's never going to get a chance to get ahead because it's going to have less money and it's going to be less useful and people aren't going to use it. Competing systems are incentivized to optimize for human wants and needs. So they're much more likely to bias towards human happiness. Now, of course, I'm not saying there is no risk with AI at all. Obviously, there is. This is a new technology and we don't know where it's going to go. That's kind of the point. There is no perfect solution, only trade-offs. The real danger is in assuming certainty where none exists. Furthermore, I believe there is a moral imperative to continue. AI is already saving lives. I see stories in the news every other day about how somebody's put their symptoms into ChatGPT and it's literally saved their life. It's diagnosed them and told them exactly which doctor they need to go and see. Every delay represents a missed cure, a misdiagnosis, and will end up costing lives. Millions, possibly billions, could suffer more than they need to if we stop AI from innovating. An open market optimizes towards the things that humans need and want, and so human health and happiness is going to be right at the top of that list. Slowing it down means less healthy, less happy humans. Fear should not freeze us. Let's push on for free and open innovation. If you want to be up to date with all the latest in AI, make sure to hit that subscribe button.